Welcome again. Today we're going to talk about Azure Active Directory and how it helps people to get a more unified access experience to their cloud services. Before we delve into what Azure Active Directory is, we're going to talk a little bit about the problems that people face in today's complex multi-cloud environment. So here's me, and today I'm connecting to multiple services. So I'm connecting to SaaS services today. I'm also connecting to services that are provided by my organization. I'm also connecting to services in the multi-cloud environment. Now, the interesting thing about this is that today I have an ID to connect to this service. I have an ID to connect to this service. In fact, I have N IDs to connect to services through my employer. And then I have ID or IDs to connect to these services as well. Now, the challenges or the problems that we see with this today is that it's hard to keep track of, number one. The second problem is security. It is incredibly vulnerable to have multiple IDs out there. If we look at the problem with passwords alone, if you look on the some of the common problems with passwords, the top 10 passwords that people set are actually password today. This is a common problem that people see. Also, passwords are not secure nowadays. They're not using the adequate security. They're not using multi-factor. They're not using single server sign-on. And this is where we get onto the solution. This is where solutions such as Azure Active Directory help to provide a common identity to all of the services and all of the solutions that we are accessing in today's multi-cloud environment. So what is Azure Active Directory? So Azure Active Directory, or AAD, is a cloud-based service that actually, as the name suggests, sits on top of Azure. So the service itself is tied to an individual or tied to their identity. And as you can imagine, a person has associated with them multiple devices. So a person can have a phone, a person can have a tablet, a person can also have a PC. So a person has with their identity N devices. Now, as you can imagine, with that identity, you want to protect that person, their identity, and you also want to protect the way that they connect to their multi-cloud environment. You want to protect their devices. So how do we do that? Well, we do that by making Azure Active Directory the common broker between the person, their devices, and all of the services. So if you can imagine, we've got SaaS-based services, services such as ServiceNow or Salesforce that can become a broker to Azure Active Directory, meaning that those services log into and authenticate against Azure Active Directory. Azure Active Directory then says to the individual, you log into Azure Active Directory, I then log in on your behalf to those services and make sure you're authenticating. It then can provide other tools to ensure that that is a safe and secure connection. Tools such as multi-factor authentication, tools such as single server sign-on. And then on top of that, there are other services such as the clients on-prem. There are obviously N services here that the client can use or broker that obviously also get logged into. Services such as maybe their on-premise exchange, or services such as their employee system or their HR system, or other services such as that. So the AD service becomes the common conduit the place where all of those services are brokered to. And then finally, on top of SaaS services, on-premise services, there are public and private cloud services that finally also become brokered to, and these can be managed service providers as well. So this is where Azure Active Directory becomes the common place where identities and individuals are protected in the cloud. Your devices become a safe place for you to access, and you authenticate in a common way between all of the services in a multi-cloud environment. So this is a very high level overview of how you move away from this, you move away from multiple identities towards a common authentication against all the services you use. So I hope that was a good, simple overview of what Azure Active Directory is. In the next video, we'll go over more about some of the features that Office 365 provides. Thank you.